back to the show, folks. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's pro wrestling again, and it's another Dark Side of the Ring Season 5 review. This time it's Brutus Beefcake. Again, not very dark side. I think they might have to label this from next season something different, but definitely not delivering the dark side in this one at all. Certainly Brutus the Barber Beefcake, a larger than life character. We grew up on him and stuff like that, the haircut and all that kind of stuff. Of course, the barber shop synonymous with Shawn Michaels and the breakup of the Rockers with Marty Jannetty and all. So certainly Brutus certainly played his part. Looked the business, was always in great shape, had a great look, all that kind of stuff. Tagging with Greg Valentine, Brutus the Barber always had great ring gear, all that kind of stuff. So certainly fitted the situation. But in this one, it's an interesting one. Of course, it starts out hugely influenced by Hulk Hogan. They were great friends back then, all that kind of stuff. Worked out twice a day to get in great shape and all, you know. And Brian Blair came on and made the point as well. He said if you were in Hogan's circle, he always did really, really well. The Hogan always looked after people who were in his circle. And I think that rings true and stuff like that. But his peers viewed it a little bit differently. His peers viewed it as if he was being looked after and he was being mentored and he was getting that easy ride and he was hanging on to Hogan's coattails and all that kind of stuff. Then we get into the Parisyan Accent, where he took it straight to the mush in the head. And it was interesting in this one because not a lot of detail on this has come out in the past. But Dr. Habal comes on and he describes the reconstruction of Brutus's head and face and how serious it was at the time. So it's interesting to get an insight into that, which was certainly important in it. Then he talks about how the manager, he had this downfall then that we see a lot in this Dark Side of the Ring, where you're kind of at the peak and you're earning and you're doing well, and the next thing you lose it all and then you have to come back again. But obviously WCW goes in, manager ripped him off, and both him and Hogan both got ripped off, lost a lot of money, ended up having to sell his house, and then he worked as a toll collector, and then in kicks this cocaine story. Now I think if you really want to go Dark Side of the Ring here, you kind of have to give us more of that cocaine kind of story and stuff like that. Now I know they turned around and said that it was something different, but Greg the Hammer Valentine confirmed that it was cocaine, so there you go, it was probably cocaine. But the story comes out about the anthrax and all that kind of stuff, and you know, people having to be evacuated and all this kind of stuff. It was absolutely crazy, but tough when you've been at that peak of your career and stuff like that to have to, you know, going through that down spiral, become a toll collector, having to sell your house, like restarting your whole life again, and that fall from grace, which is huge, you know. Goes into this, loses his job and all, ends up going into rehab, loses his job, meets Missy Leslie, of course, who was his wife now. She's his wife for 33 years at this stage, married and stuff like that. Hogan kind of cut ties with him and stuff like that, so they kind of moved apart and stuff like that. She believes part of it was her influence on it as well, because what happened was she didn't want him going back into that wrestling circle again and being around the drink and the drugs and all that kind of stuff as he was going through rehab. So she was looking out for her man, you know. She believes, of course, that the relationship could be, he believes that the relationship could be revived if they got together and stuff like that. And somewhat it was with the Hall of Fame induction and stuff like that, Hogan inducting him in. But you cannot deny the influence that Hogan had on his career and stuff like that. And, you know, even in developing that Brutus the Barber Beefcake character and stuff, and those ideas and where they came from and all that stuff, you know. It's just one of those episodes that kind of plods along. I was interested to see it, but I didn't think there was much going to come out of it. Like I said, I was really interested in the Parisyan Accident, and getting the detail on that was interesting as well, because there's a lot of different stories that go around about it and stuff like that and all. But again, overall, not so dark side and quite relaxing. As I said to you before, many times I've reviewed different episodes of Dark Side of the Ring, and they've been really tough, from the murders to the paedophiles and all this kind of stuff, the drug use and the spiraling out of control and suicide and all that kind of stuff. So we've gone through some really tough times. Both you as the audience for me and me reviewing them have been tough at times, but this time not so tough, not a huge amount in it. Somewhat of an interesting story, but certainly does belong on Dark Side. And I think this season they've been struggling. I wonder what's going to unfold in the second half of the season. Are we going to go much darker and stuff like that? Are they following on episodes, the likes of Sandman and stuff like that? Are they going to be much darker? Who knows? Hard to know what's going to come out of them and stuff. And then what for a new season, if we go into season 6, What are they going to be covering, or is it going to have to kind of go through and evolve into something different and stuff like that? Have they absolutely gone through as much as they could go through? I know some people would think like Vince McMahon could give you like a whole season, and he probably could. So maybe that's the route they're going to go, or something like that. But certainly we've gone way away from Dark Side of the Ring as such. But check out the episode, and of course hit a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification. I will be back tonight, Thursday Tier Talk with Darren, all your usual roundup of football, Premier League preview, beat the bookie, all the latest news and gossip and opinions. So join us for that. And also don't forget to check out last night's Pro Wrestling Weekly as well. We had a great night with the audience in there in the chat and stuff like that. We were talking about the Slammies, WrestleMania, the ladder match, everything came out, Ronda Ryback, all this kind of good stuff. So make sure you're liking, subscribing and sharing the content. Let's keep on growing this. And I will be back tonight at 9 o'clock. Talk to you again real soon. Cheers.